Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming today. My name is Lee Rasmussen. I'm the training manager of the Dish Women's Network. We're thrilled to have you here today to go over this presentation skills training. If you're not members of the Women's Network already, be sure to go to womensnetwork.com, dishwomensnetwork.com. You can become a member there, and basically all that is you get notified about trainings like this. We bring in executives to talk about their career path and their journey, and we're also going to be launching some small group sessions where you would have the chance to network with executives from Dish in a much smaller group format. So lots of cool things on the horizon. If you're not a member, you're not going to hear about those first and get the chance to sign up first. So be sure to sign up. Like I said, we're here today for presentation skills. Thrilled to introduce Jean Eckhoff. She's a base camp trainer in the sales area. Some of you might recognize her or have been through her class already, so you know what a fantastic trainer she is. She put this together just for us. It's going to go through some amazing tips and tricks on how to be a better presenter. And so without further ado, Jean Eckhoff.
Hello. I've always thought it would be really cool to have some walk-on music, but I couldn't decide on a song, so I didn't do walk-on music. But I'm so excited to be here. When my boss, Michael, first told me about doing this presentation skills training, I had a major flashback to the very first time that I presented. And if I had known then what I know now and what I have learned over the years, it would have gone a ton better. So I'm really excited to be here today to share with you some tips and techniques on how to improve your presentation skills, or maybe one or two that you could use the next time that you present. So without further ado, let's start getting us into this training. Everybody should have a pen and a handout. We are going to do some active learning here. I'm not much one for lecturing. I want us all to have fun. So you'll also need your phone. So that's not for Snapchatting or Instagramming me, but we'll be using polls to get your opinions on things. So before we really get started, I want you to put on our presentation mindset and just take on your handout. I just want you to jot down, what do you already know about presenting? So just jot down 1 or 2 bullet points. What do you already know about presenting? Okay, great. One more quick write. I want you to write down a sentence of what do you want to learn today. So I'll give you like 6.3 seconds. Okay, one more activity. I want you to turn to your shoulder buddy, your BFF that you brought here today for this presentation, and I want you to share what you jotted down. did you want to share with me?
PowerPoint that you present just to have kind of bullets of topics or discuss more verbally.
Okay.
Energy, keep it up. Like
Yes.
keep it interesting, and then kind of activities for involvement with whoever you're presenting to.
Perfect. Uh-huh.
And then just what to learn is kind of just how to present better, how to speak while presenting.
While presenting?
And then tips on just how to improve the method that I kind of already know.
Nice. Do you already present?
I haven't in a while, but I probably won't be meeting too soon. So
Okay.
I know I have my base camp presentation on Friday. So
Do you really?
I need tips on that.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, this is going to be great. All right, visual attention up here. Who would like to share out loud what couple of thoughts that you had? Yes, Patrick.
The two tips that I learned back in the day is, number one, tailor your message to your audience.
Yes,
If you have not done that, then you really haven't done your homework and you don't know where you need to.
exactly.
Just for them. And then the second one is just tell them times 3. You guys heard that before? Tell them what you're going to tell them. Then tell them. Then tell them what you told them.
All right,
That tends to lock in.
that's perfect. That is great. Who else would like to share? Yes, MK. Try and engage your audience. Yeah, because we don't want somebody doing the head bob on the table and you hear this big loud thud. That would really throw me off my game. So yeah, that's a really great one too. All right. Before we get started, I want to tell you about my first presentation. And this is what I look like. I actually had brown eyes and brown curly hair. My very first presentation was for an online speech class. Yeah, it's kind of an oxymoron, online speech class. But we had to get together with a small group. My very first presentation was literally 5 minutes, and it was just an introduction of myself. Like, not difficult. I was a nervous wreck the week before. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I was, again, just a mess. I show up for my presentation. I stand in front of my 4 people, because that was my group. I stand in front of my 4 people, and my paper is shaking, and my voice is shaking. And I finished my presentation, and then they were so curious about what I had said that they started asking me questions. Well, okay, then I just started answering their questions, and I stopped shaking, my voice stopped shaking, and I had this big, major aha moment. And what I realized about presenting was, well, before I get into that, I want to take our first poll. So grab your phones. I'm of, the Charlie mindset. I spend money like it's Charlie's, so I bought the free version. So only 25 responses can get in. But what I'd like you to do, Lee's going to pull up a poll right now. So text to 22333, my name, Jean Eckhoff. Make sure you do ECKHOFF 711. Once you're in, it might send you it looks like a link. Don't click on the link, just ignore that. And then text either A, B, or C. How do you feel when you know you have to give a presentation? Like, woohoo, I can't wait? Or, I'm okay, a little nervous? Or, look it, presenting, I'd rather eat a rattlesnake. Yeah, either A for woohoo, I can't. If you go full screen, Lee. There we go. If you click on A for woohoo, I can't wait. B, I'll do it, but I'll be nervous. Look at some people are saying woohoo, I can't wait. Everybody says, I'll do it, but I'll be nobody says I'd rather eat a rattlesnake, so that's really good news. I'll keep going. Couple more minutes. Thumbs up if you got your answer in. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, one person rather eat a rattlesnake. Got it? Yeah, the only issue is when people forget the C, the K, or the H in my name, so. All right. Looks like most people got their answers in. That's really good news that most of you said, I'll do it, I'll be a little nervous. Yeah, I'd rather eat a rattlesnake. That was my first presentation. That's how I felt. And what I realized, my big aha moment, was that presenting doesn't have to be that big scary monster at all. And what I figured out, it's all about connecting. So if you think about presenting as connecting, connecting isn't such a scary word. You connect your audience to each other. You connect your audience to your content in ways that makes it easy for them to remember. And then you connect to your audience, and your audience connects to you. And that's the basics of presenting. So today I'm going to talk about 3 things. I will talk about engagement, how to connect your audience to your content and connect your audience to each other through visuals and through activities. I'm going to talk about delivery, using your body, using yourself as the medium of your message, and how you can use delivery to connect to your audience. And then also how to deal with those nerves, that big scary monster that's trying to make you a nervous wreck. So I'll give you ABCs on dealing with those nerves. So engagement, I'll talk about visuals and activities. Visuals to connect your audience to your content, activities to connect your audience to each other. So visuals. Really quick, pair share. With your shoulder buddy, what do you think visuals are? So I'll give you like 8.2 seconds to just talk about what do you think visuals are? What do you think visuals are? Pictures, videos, examples. Good, good, okay. Do you want to stay sitting here? Because there's a girl over there that doesn't have a partner. If you want to. Okay. I'm not telling you have to. I'm just saying if you want a buddy.
Is there a lot of like pair buddies?
Couple more. Yeah, it's up to you. But I'm happy to share with you too, because I love to hear what you say.
I like to be up close just because I can't always see it.
Perfect. Okay, that's great. All right. Who would like to share? What do they think visuals are?
The chat shared anything that the audience sees. That was from Anna.
Anything the audience sees. That's a great answer. Anybody else? Data, dates, visuals.
Something that's hard to like digest if the audience has a hard time digesting it just from like spouting out the information. Like they need to be able to like articulate it in their like through the conversation.
Okay, so something that's hard to digest, they need to be able to re-articulate it back to you. Okay, great. So actually, visuals are anything that helps your audience create a picture, a mental picture in their head of what you want them to know or to learn. Anything that creates that picture. So I was sharing here, she said videos, photos. So here is a list of visuals. I have them on your handout, but we can go through a couple of these. When I first saw this list, did my research, case studies came up, and I thought, why would a case study be a visual? Like, that's a big whole long book with a whole bunch of writing in it that you have to read. But think about this. A case study tells a story of a company either doing a new process, trying a new software, something new, and then what were the results? And they talk about that. So giving a case study or explaining a case study creates that picture in your audience's mind to help them imagine results. Mnemonics. Try saying that 3 times fast before you've had your coffee in the morning. Mnemonics is it's a way to help people remember something in an order or a process. For example, who knows what this sentence means? My very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. Anybody? Planets, right, planets. Or is it Roy G. Biv? The colors of the rainbow. So something like that will help your audience remember what you're trying to tell them. But today I'm going to focus on these 3. I'm going to focus on storytelling, I'm going to focus on movement, and I'm going to focus on photos, a little bit about photos and using icons and graphics. So I talked very briefly, and you have your handout right in front of you. Let's do a very quick thumbs up, thumbs down quiz on what is a visual. Remember, it's anything that helps your audience create a picture in their head. So we'll do thumbs up, thumbs down. So thumbs up, slides with a bulleted list. Is that a visual? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Right, thumbs down. If it's just a bulleted list, it doesn't create that picture in your head. So great. How about handouts that include pictures? Yay, thumbs up. Verbal facts about the topic. Thumbs down. Everybody has been in the lecture with Bueller's professor. Anyone? Anyone? In 1892, we had 36 bills passed, right? Verbal facts about the topic. What about personal stories about the topic? Is that a visual? We have some thumbs up, some thumbs down. Actually, it is a thumbs up because telling a story helps somebody imagine what you're talking about. So that is considered a visual. May not be a picture, but it's a story in somebody's head. How about text-only handouts that include charts? And bar charts and graphs and plot lines. Is that a visual? Let me see. I see most all thumbs up. Guess what? It is a thumbs down. My friend loves to argue with me about this one. She is a data analyst. She is all about charts and pie graphs and plot lines and things going every which way. Text-only handouts, obviously, that is not a visual. It doesn't create that picture in your head. A chart or a bar graph or a pie chart or a plot line or a scatter plot, that is just a representation of data. It doesn't really tell a story. So if somebody just showed you a pie graph, could you make a story in your head about that? Okay, maybe, yes?
I'm thinking of it as like if you have a timeline graph
Mm-hmm.
where it goes up and then down and ebbs and flows, that tells the story of the history of, say, your stock price or a company or something like that. So that definitely tells a story.
That definitely tells a story. In your mind, right. You agree?
If you get a year-over-year graph, you can say we've increased sales 20% over last year. I mean, that's a story, that's a narrative.
Well, it's data. A narrative would be how you did it or why you did it or what caused the data to go up and down.
Could it be also based on the individual that's intaking the information?
It could be like my girlfriend, she could look at a chart and make a whole big story out of it. But is it the story that you want to tell? That is the question. So how about movement that visually demonstrates the steps in a process? Yay, because that's a gimme visually.
When you say movement, do you mean your body movement as a speaker, not movement on the image or?
Right, my movement as a speaker. Or if you say, I'm talking about 3 things today. 1, curiosity. 2, winning. And 3, the price of tea in China. So those are a way to use movement to demonstrate steps or topics. So let's talk about storytelling. Storytelling is one of the best visuals that you can give your audience because it creates that picture in their head. It helps them imagine results, and it helps them connect to your content. So, for example, this is a great one if you're doing numbers or something. Let's say I came up with a process that was going to save my company money. And I walk over to my director's office and I said, guess what? I just came up with this process. I can save you a ton of money. Yeah, there's no story. He says, okay, yeah, and so I need potato chips for my lunch. I mean, there's really no story about it. How about if I walk over to my director and I said, guess what? Did you realize that Mark and Stacy and Sue, our 3 senior financial analysts, spend 5 hours a week copying and pasting from one Excel spreadsheet to another? Do you realize it costs our company $2,700 a month based on their salary to just cut and paste? Do you realize we have at least 10 departments in our company that has at least 3 senior financial analysts? And if you do the math, we're spending $27,000 a year for our senior financial analysts to copy and paste from one Excel spreadsheet to another. Do you realize that if we came up with a process to automate that, we can save ourselves $325,000 a year? That's over $500,000 in 2 years. Now that's a story. Your director, your VP can get behind that story because he can visualize people doing copying and pasting from one Excel spreadsheet to another.
It's also factor impact solution.
What?
Factor impact solution, that story.
Right, an impact solution, right? So the next thing is, Patrick already asked me about movement and using your body to demonstrate the steps in a process or topics to help your audience visualize what you're talking about. In Sales Base Camp, I talk about our sales call flow. And I say our sales call flow helps our agents, our account executives, move the call from the beginning of the call when the customer first calls all the way to the close. So that's what the sales call flow does. It's not a script, just helps move the call along. So I say we start with our introduction. Hello, my name is Jean. I'm in Denver. What services can I set up for you today? So you're controlling the conversation. And then you move over to the there's our budget number. We actually just spent $450,000. We had a 2.6% cost decrease in this quarter for our department. And then you can go on into the rest of the story. But isn't this a lot easier to understand, read, digest than a whole big Excel spreadsheet? So presenting is, again, creating that story in your audience's mind. You. I want you to remember that you are the focus of your presentation. Your audience should be focused on you. Your slides should be the backdrop. So bonus tip, if you can print out all of your slides, send them in an email to anybody that was in your audience, and they can read all of your slides and understand what your message is, there was no point for you to present. Could have just put it in an email. Saved yourself some time. You could have gone out for a latte or a caramel macchiato, whichever is your preference. So remember, you are the focus of your presentation. So really quickly, grab your handout. We talked about visuals. So on your handout, circle the visuals that you would use or want to use or may use or would like to use the next time you present. I'll give you like 3.75 seconds. So the list is on your handout. And then very quickly, share with your buddy what visuals we use the next time you present. What did you say?
Definitely, I always do photos,
Mm-hmm.
graphics. I focus more on storytelling now. I didn't really think of that when presenting.
Nice.
And then I like demonstrations as well, just because I'm more of a visual learner.
So much so.
Demonstrations and movement go hand in hand.
They can, very much so, yeah. You take this and pour it into here, and then you take this and pour it into here. Yeah, I like it. All right. Visual attention up here. Who would like to share what visuals they are going to use the next time they present? Who would like to share? Yes, Lee.
Had most people said that they would be using storytelling in some capacity in their
Nice.
next presentation.
Awesome. I'll give somebody else a chance. Yes.
Movement for me, because personally I'm the type of person I'll stand in one spot and talk the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I never really think to kind of move as I'm doing like bullet points or storytelling. So for me, that's something I'm going to use a lot more as far as movement.
I like that, especially if it's bullet points. You have 3 bullet points. You can either move to 3 different sections, or you can point to 3 different sections. So I love that. So now let's talk about how do you connect your audience to each other using activities. Caveat to this, there may be some, if you are presenting to a C-level executive board, that you may or may not want to use, but you can adapt them to your audience, which is what Patrick had mentioned before, knowing your audience. So the first one is pair shares. We've already done that. Pair shares are a great way to connect your audience to each other, especially in the beginning of a presentation or a training, because it's non-threatening, it's very easy, especially if you have some people who are not comfortable in saying something out loud in a group. Pair shares are really a great way to do that. In a C-level presentation, maybe you adapt a pair share to a, discuss this solution with your partner. The next one is polling. Well, we've done that. We've used our phones to poll. You can also poll very quickly, raise your hands, thumbs up, something like that. And polling, again, adapt to your audience. Who has played Kahoot before? We love Kahoot. Kahoot is fun. Kahoot brings enjoyment to your presentation or training. Again, not so sure Kahoot would be the right tool for a C-level presentation, but this is a good way to either poll your audience to find out what your audience is thinking. It can be a knowledge check or just a icebreaker kind of question. And then quick write. We've already done these. Quick writes help your audience connect to the content and connect to their previous knowledge. I live by this. Don't just think it, ink it, because if I don't write it down, I will forget. Indiana University Karen James there, she's a psychologist, did a study on how people learn. And she studied adults all the way down to kids who can't even write yet. And what she found is the physical act of writing freehand, not typing and not tracing, but writing something freehand helps your brain process that information and keep it in your brain. So don't just think it, ink it, and use these quick writes in your presentations. So very quickly, with raise your hand, what do you find more engaging in a presentation? Pair share. Raise your hand if you like pair shares. If you don't like pair shares, don't raise your hand. But yeah, okay, some of you like pair shares. How about polling? Raise your hand if you like polling. Most all of you do. That's cool. All right, how about quick writes? Raise your hand. Very good. And then what about raising your hand? Do you like raising your hand? I almost put jitterbug in the middle of the room, but I thought, nah, you guys don't want to see me jitterbug. So there we go. So again, tools that you can use to make your presentation more engaging. Make sure you adapt it to your audience. So we've talked about connecting your audience to your content through visuals, and we've talked about connecting your audience to each other with activities. Now let's talk about how you can connect to your audience through your delivery. I'm going to focus on two aspects: having a strong open and close to your presentation, and then we will talk about platform skills. So a strong open and close will set the tone of your presentation. Those are the bookends of your information. So let's dive a little bit deeper into that. Having a strong open. I love this little icon because it explains exactly what you should do. You need to captivate your audience's interest, attention right away with this strong opening. So this icon, the little sparks coming off, spark your audience's interest with like a controversial statement or a quote that's unusual, or ask them a question that they're going to have to get your content to answer, or hook them with a story. So anything that gains their interest. And then tell them why they're there. Why did you take an hour out of your day to come here? Or why are you going to a meeting? So tell your audience why they are there. And along with why, we trainers live for this phrase, with them. What's in it for me? What are they going to get out of their hour spent with you? What is their ROI? The close is very easy because it just relates right back to your opening. So once you present your information, you go into your close, you review your topics, or you confirm your objectives, and those tie right back to your informing them why. If you're talking about different topics than what you inform them why about, you might have to rethink. So provide takeaways. Where does that link to? that with them. Your audience should walk out of your presentation with something that they can use, some knowledge that they needed to do their job better. And then finally, a memorable close. Who has gone to see fireworks at any time ever in your life? Who has gone to see a fireworks show? Right. And at the end of the fireworks show, there's all the cherry bombs and the big bangs, and all the fireworks are going off at once. And so now we know that's the end of the show. Because if they only did one last firework and it just kind of fizzled out, you'd say, oh, okay, was that the end? I don't know. Should we stay? Should we go? I don't know. So make sure you end with a bang. It should link back to your opening. Tell the end of the story. Answer the question. End up with another controversial quote that links along with the first one that you gave. So just leave your audience with a bang. And now let's talk about platform skills. We already talked about using movement to help your audience visualize like maybe a process or a flow. You can use movement and eye contact to connect with your audience. We trainers call it move, plant, move. You will love this one. So think of maybe your first topic. Move to one part of your room, plant yourself, make your 2 or 3 points, make eye contact with the people in the room. They're not scary, they're not going to turn into monsters. Just look at them and say, give them your message. And then maybe move to the middle of the room. Plant yourself, make 1 or 2 points, make eye contact. Same thing, move, plant, move. Great way, again, your audience feels like you're talking to them, that you're not just up here out in this nebulous cloud. Eye contact helps build trust, so your audience knows that you're a trustworthy person. And voice. Again, going back to my favorite character in my favorite movie, the professor in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Anyone? And my favorite, history teacher who would stand up in front of the class and he would say, in 1892, Lincoln passed Farvells, and it was a complete monotone, and the kids were sitting there like this, drool coming down their mouth. So use your voice. Use your voice to captivate your audience. Use your voice to emphasize a message. You can speak very loudly to get their attention, or you can soften your voice, and your audience will probably lean forward and think, oh, she's saying something super important. It's like a secret. I better learn it. So use your voice modulation. So quick write. Grab your sheet. Write down what delivery techniques will you work on, will you use in your next presentation. I will give you 10 seconds. And then quick do a pair share with your buddy. I'll give you another 5 seconds. What did you write down for delivery?
Probably just the strong open.
Nice.
That with the capture the interest.
Uh-huh.
And then I think like the takeaways are probably the most important because, what's the point of presenting if
You got it.
from it,
You go, girl. I love it.
It is a little bit of like just like really evaluating. It's just kind of like here's information. I see that exactly what I'm saying. Like
All right. I hear lots of great discussion. Who would like to share 1 or 2 techniques that they want to focus on as far as delivery? Move, plant, move. I love that one. Yes. That's a very powerful one. All right. Nerves. Probably the reason why most of us are here. How do we deal with that big scary monster that's trying to make us a nervous wreck. Be prepared. I actually wanted to do some research to find out, why are we so nervous? Why do we get so like this before we have to present? And especially, why do we get that nervous if we are presenting in front of people we already know? So academic researchers hypothesize that it actually goes way back to primitive man, cavemen. They had to live in groups in order to survive. They lived in groups to hunt those big woolly mammoths and those huge saber-toothed tigers. They had to live in groups in order not to be hunted by the big woolly mammoths and the saber-toothed tigers. If, for some reason, they did something wrong and they were ostracized from the group, it meant almost certain, let's say this politically correct, non-survival, to not be morbid. But they couldn't survive. They had to be in a group. So I know some of you are saying, well, Jean, what does that have to do cavemen? We're not cavemen. Evolution. Fast forward. Now we have our groups at work. We belong to our groups. When we get up to present, we separate ourselves from the group. And what we don't want is we don't want our group rejecting us, because then we don't belong to the group, and we need that feeling of belonging. So that's where those nerves come from. Cavemen, evolution, we just don't want to be ostracized. We still want to belong to the group. So the ABCs of dealing with your nerves. The first thing is just to accept the fact that you're going to be nervous. It is very natural. It just comes from evolution. So if you accept the fact that you're going to be nervous, a little bit easier to deal with them. So A is for accept. B, breathe. Breathing brings in that oxygen to your brain, and I'm talking about the deep breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth, the whole yoga breathing. It actually it helps the sympathetic nervous system to bring that calm, relaxed state. So the more you deep breathe, the more you get into that sympathetic nervous state, which is the absolute opposite of the parasympathetic nervous state, which brings that fight or flight response, which makes you all jittery. So honest to Pete, that deep breathing before you present will help you calm your nerves. C is for commit to practice. You practice in the clothes you're going to be wearing to present. You practice in the room you're going to be presenting in. You practice with your equipment and with your visual aids or your computer or your mic. Whatever you're going to be using to present, you practice. Who is this guy talking to? Who is he presenting to? An imaginary audience. But I love it because he's wearing his outfit. Well, he's wearing his clothes. I don't think guys wear outfits. But he's wearing his clothes. He has his laptop. He's got his visuals. He is practicing. So commit to practice. We trainers live by the 6 Ps. Proper preparation and practice prevents poor performance. We say that to each other all the time. Never before we've had coffee. I said ABCs. So one of the words is visualization, but I didn't want to have to go through the whole alphabet, so I used S for self-talk. So self-talk or visualization is one of the strongest tools that you can use to deal with your nerves. In the book Emotional Intelligence, the authors did MRI scans of people's brains, people looking at an actual sunset or visualizing a sunset. And guess what? The MRI scans were exactly the same. So what it proves is if you visualize something, your mind thinks that you're actually doing it. So if you don't present all the time, you may not have a chance to practice presenting all the time to get over those nerves. So you need to visualize yourself presenting. Visualize yourself in your clothes, in the room, actually saying the words. Visualize your audience, and your brain is thinking, then you're actually doing it. Another thing that goes along with visualization is having a self-talk phrase. So what phrase are you going to tell yourself that you are going to be successful? Mine is always, I'm going to rock it. And that's what I say to myself 50 times a day before I present. I'm going to rock this. So grab your phones, and I want you to type in, what is your visualization phrase? I do need to say, please HR appropriate, since we may have an HR person in the room. So type in your visualization phrase. What would you tell yourself over and over again before you present to help calm your nerves? You got this. Love it. You can do it. It will be okay. Chill. You know this. It's right, because you are this me. I'm awesome. I love that one. I'm looking forward to this. Be here now. You'll be great. You can do it. Let's go. I love that one. I'm looking forward to this. Great. Point being, come up with a phrase, put it in your phone, put it as your backdrop on your screen, because those are what's going to help calm your nerves as well. Oh, you're going to kill it. I love it. So real quick check. Did you learn what you wanted to learn today? Go back to your handout, right, and look at what you wrote down, like, I want to learn this today. And please give me a thumbs up if you learned what you wanted to learn today. I love it. 2 thumbs up I got from some people. Great. So today we talked about engaging, connecting your audience to your content, connecting your audience to each other, you connecting to your audience through your delivery, and then taking care of that big scary monster who's trying to make you nervous. So I know, I see some of you writing a lot of things down in your notebooks or on your handouts, some tips or techniques that you'll do the next time that you present. And I know that if I come see you present, you guys will have your own mic drop moment. Are there any questions I can expound on for you? Any ideas, topics? Yes?
I always wonder whether I should build my content around my time or my time around my content, if that makes any sense. Like, do I try and figure out, okay, I have an hour, I need to figure out how to get my content within that hour, or do I start with mapping the time out based on what I want to cover?
That is a great question. For those on our chat, it's for, the question was, do I build my content around my time, or do I build my time around my content, right? So, quick answer is, depends on if you can be flexible. Best answer is, and this is a bonus tip because I didn't cover this in the presentation, your content should be no more than 3 topics. You can pretty much cover 3 topics in an hour. So I would start with that. Can you break your content down in 3 topics? If you can't, and you've got 8 things that you want to cover in an hour, think about, can you remember something? Can you remember 8 topics if somebody presented it in an hour? So depending on if you can go over an hour, that would be the answer. Did I answer your question satisfactorily?
Yes.
Or
Map it all out in my head.
map it all out in your head. Yeah, that's great. Yes, MK.
Is it helpful to have some ancillary information that you could use if there's not conversation occurring, or like I think about Basecamp where we had the same classes going on side by side, and the other class
Mhm.
But our classes we have more conversation and dialogue to have, which is great.
Right.
It's engaging.
Right.
But if you have an hour presentation, people aren't engaged, would it be better to just have it end early, or should you have more information that you're prepared to present?
So the question is, if you're presenting for an hour and you finish in 45 minutes, what do you do for the next 15 minutes? Hopefully, maybe you can have a discussion. You can end early and then just have extra information for them. Did I answer your question satisfactorily? Okay.
Or people are talking more, and you know what information you could cut, potentially. Like, do you know what I mean? 'Cause our classes talk so much. So
Yes.
Did you guys then think, okay, we don't need to focus as much on this, and we'll, in order to almost, we would have sat until 8 p.m.
We would have sat there till 8 p.m. MK was in my base camp class, and they were talkers. But they had great conversations, and that's just time management. If you have exactly an hour, you just need to watch your time and say that's a great question for another time. If you end early, I would be prepared with some discussion questions. So I always go into my presentations with more information rather than less, just in case. So just so that you know, this was just the tip of the iceberg. There's plenty more information on presentation skills. We can do deeper dives into presentation skills. We can do one-on-one workshops or group workshops to help you build presentations. We have best classes for a deeper dive into presentation and training. We also have, if you are presenting to an executive, or you know you've got 10 minutes as a drive-by conversation with your boss, director, and you want to present an idea to them, we have 10-minute power presentations available. So the information for these, to contact us about any of these or any other ideas that you might want for your group or your department on presenting or training, there is a link and the email at the bottom of your handout. So thank you very much. I've enjoyed my time with you. So I just want you to go forth and connect.